Hey, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Shasti. Here we talk about makeup, entertainment, celebrities, TV shows, books, movies, animes, and kind of anything else that garners my attention this week. And this week we will be talking about the villain, Justin Timberlake. And this video is sparked because after 2 decades, Justin Timberlake had decided to apologize not only Janet Jackson, but Britney Spears. We all know the reason why he's doing this, but we will definitely get into that. From this whole video, we're starting with the very beginnings of Justin and Britney, and then working our way down through all of that mess, because it's a mess, and then getting to what happened with Janet Jackson. Let's take it all the way back to where Justin and Britney first met, which was on the Mickey Mouse Club. I think stating that they met as children on the Mickey Mouse Club is extremely important to the story, because this man has known this girl for pretty much his entire life, and he still did the horrible, disgusting things he will do in the future. And I feel like that is so telling what type of person he is, to be willing to do the things he is going to do to somebody that he knew as a child. And even on the Mickey Mouse Club, Justin and Britney were like, had little crushes on each other, as you do as a child. I think during one interview, it was stated that like Justin Timberlake was actually Britney Spears' first kiss, which, you know, at the time was cute, but now we know the truth. It's a man's demon. Late 90s, early 2000s, Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears start dating, and they are the it couple. Pop royalty. At that time, we had not had a couple as powerful as Justin and Britney in a really, really long time. And the media was going crazy. The media loved them two together. That's where we got the very iconic, jean couples outfit, which a moment. It is a moment. Is it a great moment? No, because jean outfits are gross. But at the time, and it was a couple, it was real cute. Now, in 2002, Britney Spears and Justin broke up, and the media completely took Justin's side. And I feel like it's very important to bring up the fact that at that time, Britney Spears was not as loved as she is now. I think like she was loved, but the media was painting this very gross and disgusting like picture of her, that she was this slut, even though like at that time she had only ever publicly dated Justin, because of her onstage persona and the kind of like music she was making and the dancing she was doing. People thought she was a bad influence on children, which in my opinion, raise your kids, don't let celebrities do it, but I guess y'all are allergic to doing that. And, the media already didn't like her, but then when she was dating Justin, she became like a darling again. And then when they broke up, they were just like, well, he has to be right. It has to be her, because we have all these preconceived notions with no facts about Britney. It's also very important to remember that at this time of their breakup, Justin was trying to start his own solo career, and his debut single had only debuted at number 11, which for someone who was a part of the biggest boy groups ever do it, debuting at number 11 is really not good. Now, if you and I magically drop a song and it reaches number 11, that's great for us. But like for someone who was a part of NSYNC, for your first single to only reach number 11, it wasn't looking good for Justin. Then he dropped his second song and video, Cry Me a River. In the video, well, the song is about, the breakup, as well as the fact that there is a Britney lookalike in the video. Now, it was stated that Britney had gave her blessings for the lookalike in the video, but she didn't at the time, she didn't know what type of video was being made and how she was going to be painted in that video. I hate that for her. Personally, I would have never, greenlit that, but I feel like she thought, because in later interviews, they say they have a pact between each other not to talk about the breakup too much. So I think she's under the assumption that, Justin was loyal and was a good person. First mistake, Britney. Listen, first of many mistakes is trusting men. But like, so there's a lookalike in the video, and the lookalike is doing very incriminating things, insinuating that Britney had cheated on Justin and broke his heart. We all know Cry Me a River. I was only 4 when the video came out. Yeah, I was 2002, so I was about 4 years old. So like, I remember seeing the music video, And like I was also at the time like I loved Britney at the time. That Britney was amazing. So I could, even as like a young, like I think I was maybe like 5 or 6 when like I really watched the video, and I was like, that girl kind of looks like Britney. So like he knew what he was doing. Like he wasn't slick with it. Because if child me could be like, oh, that's Britney Spears, that's weird. Not fully connecting the pieces because I was a child, unlike you grown people. It is really interesting to me that y'all were so quick to believe. No, why am I surprised? He's a man. Of course you believe a man. Men don't get questioned. Y'all just believe them. My mistake. I forgot what type of society we live in. So then, Justin Timberlake does an interview with Barbara Walters where he basically puts the entire blame on Britney for the demise of the relationship, while also stating that like he doesn't judge anyone, which I wish I can put that clip in the video, but I feel like I'd probably get taken down. But I will have a link to it in the description below, and if I don't, like, please message me so I can do it. But yeah, for the entire video, for the entire interview, sorry, he's putting the blame on Britney. That the relationship falling apart is Britney's fault. Even though in the interview he says, I'm not going to talk about it because Britney tells me not to. And then proceeds to put the entire blame on Britney. I'm confused how y'all watched that interview, heard him say that, and heard him proceed to put all the blame on her and still had his side. I was confused. Very confused. So during the interview, Justin asked if he can perform one of the songs from his new album, during the interview. Barbara says yes. They bring out a piano. And instead of playing one of the songs off the project, he plays an unreleased song called Horrible Woman. Now, I hope you have 2 brain cells to understand the optics of that and why he did that and why he picked the song called Horrible Woman to continue to push this narrative that Britney Spears is this horrible person, that she's the reason why they broke up, yada yada yada. Even though I feel like if you know Justin Timberlake now, you don't believe that it was just her. There's no way that in 2021 you've seen the action of Justin Timberlake with his now wife, and like how he sometimes has her looking stupid, to believe that he's a faithful man. He was part of one of the biggest boy groups, and you want me to... Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. So he does the song, which then again, it blows my mind that Justin could do this to somebody that he knew from childhood. Justin Timberlake is probably one of the most vindictive men. Probably. Because to do this to someone you've known since you were a kid is unnecessary. Break up, move on, write your little boo-boo ass song and keep it pushing. And from this point forward, the media is attacking Britney. It is article after article, cover of magazine over cover of magazine. Britney even does an interview with Diane Sawyer. The tone of the interview is, what did you do to Justin? No one ever asks what Justin's fault was in the relationship. Because this idea that like a relationship falls apart. Okay, so sometimes relationships do fall apart because of one person. That does happen. But no one ever asked, well, did Justin do anything? It was, everyone went with the assumption that it just had to be Britney's fault. And Justin was very smart in his handling of this, especially in the early 2000s, framing himself the way he did, using this to his advantage, using this to sell his album. Because honestly, let's be fair, the first project did good because of the situation with Britney. Because as we saw, that first single flopped. It 100% flopped. But this drummed up enough controversy for the album to do so good and able to propel him to the place he is now. So then we get a slew of interviews, one in particular with a radio station, where Justin Timberlake is bragging about taking Britney's virginity. This man is gross and disgusting. And again, you had this man bragging about stealing this girl's virginity. It's not stealing. Let me stop. For taking this girl's virginity. And everyone's like, yep, that's such a good guy. That old Justin. What good person brags about taking someone's virginity? None. No, but who does brag about that? Supervillain. And that's what Justin Timberlake is, a supervillain. In 2006, Justin was named Man of the Year. I'm just going to assume every other man died that year. And during that interview, he takes the time to again blame Britney for their breakup. Justin states, he tells the magazine that back in 2002, when the couple initially parted ways, I felt like she had a couple of opportunities to just sort of stick up for me, and she didn't, which is fine. But at that time, I fought back, and that's the way I fought back. I used my mind. I came up with a song. I don't understand why Britney had to take up for him when she was the person being slandered. There was no Justin Timberlake slander during their breakup. It was all about Britney and what she did wrong. You see, it's narcissist. He's a narcissist. There's something not right with this man because somehow, years later, we're in 2006. We moved past the first project. We're moving on to bigger things. And yet, this man, for the next couple of years, continuously brings back Britney. And at this point, I just have to believe that all of his success is because of Britney. Because he seems to keep bringing her up for a reason. It feels like the most interesting thing about Justin Timberlake is that he used to date Britney Spears. Nothing else. Nothing that actually pertains to him as a person. Just the person he used to date, which I think is very telling. So in 2007, that is when a lot of Britney Spears' troubles started. I feel like I don't need to explain what was happening between her and Kevin Federline. You know what was happening. And during that time, Justin was on an award show, and during his acceptance speech, he brings up Britney. Now, he doesn't say her name, but he does say, "You know who you are," and says to not get drunk, do not drink, and do not get sloppy. During the height of Britney's breakdown, Justin was on tour, and he added to the intro of Cry Me a River, I think she's crazy. Again, this man, we're in 2007-8. He is still calling back to Britney. He just keeps doing this. Even when he gets in new relationships and she's in new relationships, Justin Timberlake will find a way to bring up Britney's name. It makes me believe that maybe if he never dated Britney, he would not have the success he has now. Because that first single did not do so good. And Cry Me a River did so well because it was the salaciousness of it all. So maybe that's why he keeps bringing her up. Because without Britney and black people music, he is nothing. In 2009, Justin Timberlake was on SNL, and in one of the sketches, he was again bragging about taking Britney's virginity. And that is probably one of the most heterosexual things, bragging about a virginity you took from a woman who's been married and has 2 kids now. Do you feel, I have to ask men, does that make you feel good 2-3 decades later that you took someone's virginity 10 years ago? Does it make you feel like a big man? Does it? Because it's sad and pathetic. Now, that's kind of where I'm going to end the Britney timeline. I could definitely keep going because this keeps going for a while. There's a few more years, but I feel like we get the gist of the type of monster that Justin Timberlake is and how pathetic he is and how he would be nobody without Britney Spears. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. In 2004, Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake were slated to perform at the halftime show at the Super Bowl. I would like to know who allowed Justin Timberlake to be on the same stage as Janet Jackson. That was a very first mistake, allowing that hack to be on the same stage as the Queen, Janet Jackson. Now, during this performance, there was a mishap. Justin ends up exposing, Janet's breast to the whole audience, and then that's when everything fucking happens. After the situation happens, it's pandemonium everywhere. For some reason, it's all Janet's fault, even though Justin's the one that grabbed her costume and pulled it, exposing her breasts. It's all Janet's fault. And from that point forward, Janet is blackballed in the industry. And really, honestly, her career is only just slightly recovering, but Janet Jackson is still not where she deserves to be. And like during this time, Justin is nowhere to be seen. Not nowhere. Because what should be happening is he should have been right there next to her defending her. I don't know why he wasn't. He's a white man. He wasn't gonna get canceled. Like, I don't. This was 2004. Wasn't nobody getting canceled in 2004, well, except for black women, as you can see by Janet. But white men, doesn't matter what time period we are in, white men don't get canceled. He was just being selfish, truthfully and honestly. Because from that point forward, I think like a week after that, Janet was supposed to perform somewhere. I forgot what award show. She was not allowed to perform at that award show to give tribute to another artist, but Justin was allowed to perform. And even since then, Justin has played the Super Bowl, and Janet Jackson has not. I think when people heard, I think I remember when Justin did the Super Bowl again, people were like hoping he'd bring Janet back out. No, why would he do that? That'd make him a good person. And even Janet brings up the fact that it's like, you don't do that to a friend. She was expecting for him to kind of take her side and kind of help defend her in the situation. But why would he do that? There's no honor amongst thieves. This Janet situation was another way for kind of Justin to thrust his career forward. Because after that, Justin was winning awards after awards. He was getting number one hits after getting number one hits. Not once. And while having all this attention on him, never once taking up for Janet. Even though he says in the past that like Michael Jackson was one of his biggest inspirations, but you let down his sister like this? Gross and disgusting. So now that brings us to today. The Framing Britney documentary came out, and again, we were brought back to the monster that is Justin Timberlake. And the girlies were dragging him for that. As well as the Super Bowl just happened, right? Not too long ago. And every Super Bowl, I want to say, since Twitter has been more mainstream, Janet Jackson usually trends on Twitter, and we talk about this moment, and we talk about the devil that is Justin Timberlake and how he failed her. Like of course he would fail her. And it happens like clockwork yearly that we drag Justin Timberlake for either Britney, and every Super Bowl we drag him for Janet Jackson. And I guess this year maybe the dragging was just a little bit harsher than normal because we're all in the house now. We have nowhere to go but drag you. And so 2 decades later, this man releases the sorriest apology we've heard on this channel. So Justin says, "The industry is flawed. It sets men, especially white men, up for success. It's designed this way. As a man in a privileged position, I have to be vocal about this. Because of my ignorance, I didn't recognize it for all that it was while it was happening in my own life. But I do not want to ever benefit from others being pulled down again." Whew. "I have not been perfect in navigating all of this throughout my career. I know this apology is the first step and doesn't absolve the past. I want to take accountability for my own missteps in all of this, as well as be part of the world that uplifts and supports. I care deeply about the well-being of the people I love and have loved. I can do better and will do better. I've seen the messages, tags, comments, and concerns, and I want to respond. I am deeply sorry for the times in my life where my actions contributed to the problem, where I spoke out of turn or did not speak up for what was right. I understand that I fall short in these moments and in many others and benefited from a system that condones misogyny and racism. I specifically want to apologize to Britney Spears and Janet Jackson both individually because I care for and respect these women. I know I have failed. I also feel compelled to respond in part because everyone involved deserves better and most importantly, because this is a larger conversation that I wholeheartedly want to be a part of and grow from." Okay. Again, it's been 2 decades. Let's talk about the fact that a lot of the people that were dragging Justin Timberlake on Twitter weren't even born when you and Britney were dating. A good portion of the people dragging you wasn't even alive. It's been that long, Justin. And it took 2 decades. He's a man. He's a white man. It's it's like you do jackets to genuinely apologize, and you want people to accept it. We have been talking to you for years, Justin. For years. And you tell me it took, especially since the whole, I forgot, Jesse Williams, that Jesse Williams situation when he was given that award, and then Justin got on Twitter to be like, we're all people. We're all humans. And we all need to do this. That whole, like, all lives matter bullshit he tweeted. This man has not learned a thing. Okay? He just wants us to leave him the fuck alone. He's like, here's your apology. Now leave me alone. It doesn't matter. Because next year, during Super Bowl time, we're going to drag your ass again. What? Justin, you will never live down your sins. Because they're egregious. They are egregious. And it's taking you almost 2 decades. I am 22 going on 23. Okay? I was 4 when Crime in the River came out. 4. I'm turning 23 this year. A little too late. Thank you for the apology, but it doesn't matter. The damage is done. Okay? Britney Spears went through what she went through. No help thanks to you. You made it worse. You turning the media against her is in part of the reason why they harassed her the way she did for the years following. What you did to Janet and not taking up for her is the reason why in 2021 Janet's career is not where it needs to be. She is a legend and an icon. There should be tribute after tribute after tribute for Janet. And yet it's not. She is a Jackson. Are you fucking kidding me? And she does not have the career she absolutely deserves. Okay? Because of you. Like, and thanks for a little apology, but it does nothing. You can't fix Janet's career. You cannot change what has happened to Britney. Because I feel like he genuinely believes he doesn't play a part in that, but you do. You turning the media even more against her played a huge part in what happens later in her life. Justin Timberlake is an absolute villain. He is a horrible and disgusting human being. And again, I feel like you want me to have this apology, but you did these things to either people you idolize or people you've known for most of your life. You've known Britney since you were a child, and you had no problem throwing her under the bus and turning the media against her and then playing it up. You played it up. You did everything you possibly could for the world to view her as a horrible person. There's something wrong with you. There's something absolutely wrong with you. You are a horrible individual, and this sorry-ass apology doesn't mean shit. You could keep it. Honestly, you could have kept not apologizing, because we still gonna drag your ass every year. Justin, you are a terrible person. This apology don't mean shit, because we know you don't mean it. You want us to leave you alone, because honestly, the Framing Britney documentary is what probably drummed it up even worse for you. Okay, that's it. I've given this man enough of mine and your time. I just wanted to bring a lot of stuff to light for those of you who may not know, because again, a lot of people were not alive, or like me, were very young when this was happening. I was a kid, and like I truthfully didn't care what was happening, because it was between the ages of like 4 and like 10. I didn't care what celebrities were doing at that time. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Did you learn anything new from this video? Do you have any other instances where Justin Timberlake was being a disgusting and horrible individual? Honestly, I could have brought up the fact that like his entire career is fueled by black people and black people's music. But that's a whole separate video for a different time, not today. I have other things I want to do besides talk about the devil himself. So anyways, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.